G'day, guys. Welcome back to Statchat Sports. Just Steve and Tazza today. No BT, no Josh. It's World Cup time, as always, that time of the week. Round two of the group stages are done and dusted. We are a day late on the video, so actually Group A and Group B has been done and decided. So, but we'll cover those. But we got plenty to talk about, Tazza. So we'll jump straight into it. Starting at the top is always Group A. Going back a week, it's group the second round basically had a couple of things decided. Netherlands had qualified, and it was confirmed that Qatar were going out based off of the two results that happened there. But it was still all to play for between Senegal and Ecuador, and this morning it was an absolute classic, and Senegal had to win it to go through, and they did exactly that.
Yes, Senegal got the chocolates 2-1. It was Ismaila Sarr with the penalty and Koulibaly, I think 70th minute winner after Caicedo had equalised for Ecuador. Yeah, hugely important for Senegal. I mean, that'll see them out of the group, and we'll get onto it. But it sets up quite a mouth-watering clash, I think, with the might of England. So it's going to be a good knockout there.
So I'd say this was pretty much what most people, I'd say, would have predicted these two to probably go through in this order as well. But Ecuador were probably unlucky. You know, they drew against the Netherlands, and they obviously did almost everything they could have against Senegal to get a result there. But anything besides defeat saw Ecuador get through, but they just couldn't hang on for the draw, and they go out. But you know, guys like Eder Valencia had a good tournament. You know, I think he scored 3. I think he's Ecuador's only player in history to score in like 6 consecutive World Cup games or something along those lines. So, you know, he's already an icon in Ecuadorian sort of folklore there. So, but yeah, Group A all wrapped up, and I think it was in the direction that most of us sort of expected to go in.
Yeah. Looking at the start, I think we all saw Netherlands 1, Senegal 2. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Speaking of, you mentioned England, big Group B. Last week in the second round of the groups, it was football versus soccer. Saying it, we call it soccer in Australia, but we don't. You know, I'd say it's more. Well, it's sort of. I'd say it's an even split between football and soccer here in Australia. But it was an encounter that I think had a lot of potential, but it ended up going pretty much nowhere. It was 0-0. There wasn't a great deal of excitement to this.
Yeah, I mean, it was two of the biggest powerhouses in just about everything in the world going at it, and yeah, the football versus soccer. I feel like it's only those that play or watch call it football. Those that would rather watch AFL or something, it's always soccer. It depends how you feel about the game as to what you call it for me. But yeah, I mean, it was the only scoreless draw, this one, in the second round of fixtures. So we had 4 in the first round, and it was good to see the goals pour in the second round. And it was probably the game I expected more goals. I expected a little bit more from the fixture. So yeah, Pulisic hitting the crossbar. Was a nice, he fizzed that one in.
You'd have to say that USA were probably unlucky to win, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they were pretty good value. They had McKennie had a perfect chance over.
Yeah,
dead center of the box. Had the goal. I mean, it wasn't begging, but a well-timed shot or a decently timed shot would have gone in. So they had the better of the chances for sure.
And Iran left it late, real late twice against Wales. I remember I was watching this up until about the 80th minute, and I decided to switch it off. And then everything happened in the 90. I think it was the 97th, and then 90 plus 7, and then 90 plus 11. I think were the 2 goals scored by Iran. And up until obviously, you know, going into round 3, after the heavy defeat in the opening fixture, it put them right in the thick of it, and they were right there to qualify.
Yeah, I remember I messaged our Statchat group chat, and I was like, "Oh, is anyone watching the Wales game?" And you're like, oh, yeah, I was. I just switched it
Just
off
switched
and
it
you
off.
missed all the good parts. I mean, I don't blame you after 70 minutes of nil.
Mm.
Oh, well, I'm probably going to do the same. But yeah, no, it was huge drama with Hennessy with the red card, which, given a yellow at first, I was pretty shocked because he cleaned up the attacker. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, he cleaned him straight through. Didn't get a piece of the ball. Got all attacker. It was a red card every day, and Wales right at the death succumbed to the first goal outside of the box for the whole tournament. So, and it was a peach of a goal. It was a fair way out too. He didn't sneak it in. He thunderbolted that thing in. So, in the end, yeah, Iran just had too much for Wales.
So now the Group B has also been decided here, based off of the games this morning. So it was, it was England hadn't qualified up until this point. Obviously, they still had to get a result. I think only a draw would have seen them through. But they ended up relatively comfortably beating Wales 3-0. Few changes to the England side. Phil Foden came in. And Rashford came in for Saka, and it would have been who's
Henderson for Mount.
Henderson. Yeah, Henderson and for Mason Mount was the other one. So a couple of changes, and Rashford 2 goals, and Foden with a goal as well. So his 2 attacking changes made the difference in this particular one. So this sees England qualify at top of the group, which again probably expected. But then USA v Iran. This is where it all came down to for second spot. Iran only needing a point to qualify, and they gave it everything they got, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, the man Christian Pulisic doing it again. He's obviously he's been somewhat maligned for his probably more style over substance. I'd say it was brought up in the telecast, and I tend to agree. But he's dragged them over the line here. He's got them to where it. This is the pass mark for them. Well, not the pass, but it's this is the bare minimum for them. Making it out of the group. They need to see some progress. US football's really, or soccer has really probably, it's been a bit stuttery so far. They've promised a little bit, but they've never really got anywhere. But they're seeing some progress, and they will verse the Netherlands, I think, come the knockout stages. So that's an interesting one, because I'm not sure the Netherlands have been that great so far. I don't think they've been overly convincing. Looking at their lineup and the stat sheet, they should be better than they are, and I just don't think they were handed somewhat of an easier group, and I think they haven't really put their foot down as of yet.
Yeah, I would agree. It feels like they're sort of still moving in sort of second and third gear at the moment. And it's just the case of pure talent and the talent difference between the squads, or their squad, and the the opponent's squad, that they've purely just come out on top. We haven't seen them batter sides, or play them off the park or anything like that. So it's going to be an interesting one. I do still probably think that the Netherlands go through here. I think England and Senegal could be a bit more interesting. I don't think this one is as straightforward for England. Senegal have some quality, up front, at the back as well. Koulibaly, Mendy, Premier League proven there. So, it's going to be tough. A lot of these players in the England side are going to be familiar with a few of these players from Senegal. So it's going to be interesting in this 2 setups. So yeah, look, if I had to pick, Netherlands and England still probably go through, but yeah, look, this could be a potential penalties for England, maybe. And we all know what England and penalties are like, so that could be a flip of a coin, go either way. But I do think at the minute, and I'm sure BT especially would agree, that England just have a little bit more over Senegal here.
Yeah, I'm sure they get the job done. it's easy to say that all things look straightforward here, but I mean, we've already seen some wild upsets, but you'd have to think the talent wins out here. Um, England are deep all over the park, as we've seen. Um, with the changes that they made between the second, obviously it was a 0-0 draw, but they carried more or less the same, or more or less the same team from the start for the first game into the second, I think. So the changes that they did make, it shows that they've got depth on the bench. So and they've got depth in most positions. So I just think they'll be too strong, England.
Let's move on to Group C now. After the second round of games, I think there was only 3 sides that had already qualified. That was the Dutch, France, and Portugal. Everything else in every other group is still very much to play for. And the fact that Poland got the win over Saudi Arabia and Argentina beat Mexico puts this in for a real photo finish of Group C. You've got obviously Argentina and Poland; they're the 2 front runners of the group at the moment, and then obviously Mexico and Saudi Arabia to come. But we're not going to look forward to those ones just yet. Obviously, Argentina, Mexico. I'd say Mexico on paper probably would have been Argentina's toughest fixture in this group, and they left it late. But a moment of magic from the little man. You mentioned just before that the Iranian goal was the first goal outside of the box, so this would have been the second from Messi because it needed a little bit of brilliance to open up the game, and he delivered.
Yeah, I mean, both goals that Argentina scored were 2 great goals, but yeah, looking first at Messi, it did need something otherworldly, and who else but Messi to provide it. Beautiful first touch and puts it, skids along the ground into the corner, and yeah, I mean, even Fernandez's goal, that was awesome.
Nice.
The way he skipped in and just that little touch just to gain himself a little bit of ground, and the way he killed it past Ochoa in it for the goal. It was great, and this is what we need to see from Argentina. They've been lacking that probably killer instinct, that final touch that the likes of France and Brazil have already shown. So this is back to what we expected from Argentina.
And would many of people, would you say, have expected Poland to beat Saudi Arabia given their performance against Argentina in the first game? Poland looked pretty average themselves against Mexico, but they sort of came out in a different light here against Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say now, but I do think that most people would have seen Saudi Arabia's 2-1 win against Argentina as a flash in the pan. I mean, there's a reason it's such a surprise, because Saudi Arabia aren't a powerhouse like Argentina have, and these things happen. But returning back to normal, resuming back normal service, Poland were pretty convincing for mine. Once they'd broken down Saudi Arabia, I think it was either just before halftime or just after halftime, I think. Zielinski getting them 1-0 up. They were good value, I think. And Lewandowski scoring his first World Cup goal. 77 goals for Poland, and that's his first World Cup finals goal. So huge for him, and you could tell he definitely enjoyed it. You could see what it meant to him. He was stoked.
Yeah, he was. And I mean, this is where this is why the World Cup is the most sort of passionate in sport in terms of, or event for these players. Even Messi, after he scored his goal, you could see how much that meant to him. I think that appearance brought him level as with Diego Maradona as most appearances for most caps for Argentina. So
that's huge.
Obviously, he's about to break that here. But I mean, everyone knows the level and the stature of Diego Maradona in Argentina as it is. So the fact that Lionel Messi is about to surpass him is 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 huge. So, but yeah, look, literally anything to play, everything to play for here. And Mexico, who are sitting bottom with 1 point, can still qualify. Although they can only qualify as runners up. They can't top the group. But it's literally, I mean, like this is honestly could be a flip of a coin between any teams here. It's no shoe in. Like we could still see Argentina completely out of the tournament right here, should they not get anything against Poland. So yeah, it's definitely a group to look out for because it's all to play for here.
Well, I mean, looking at this group before everything started, it did seem quite deep, and we cast away Saudi Arabia, thinking they're the ugly duckling. They're not going to do anything here. What do they go and do? They go and beat basically the second. They're up there for tournament favoritism, Argentina. So, yeah, it's anyone's to win, really. Who knows? Could Saudi Arabia beat Mexico? Probably. They've done it to Argentina. Like I said, it's a flash in the pan, but play the right way and the right structure with that offside trap. It probably works a little bit differently because Mexico don't have the firepower that Argentina do, but anything can happen here. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely ones to keep your eye on at the time of recording this. I think these fixtures are well, they're either tonight's fixtures or tomorrow morning's for us in Australia. So keep your eyes on these ones because yeah, you can go either way. So Group D, obviously we saw France with their win over Denmark solidified their qualifications. That was a no-brainer. We all saw it coming. France going 3 from 3. They're probably going to get a win against Tunisia here, but the one that had Australia talking was the 1-0 win over Tunisia. Puts qualifying in their own hands. All at a minimum they need is a draw against Denmark, and they'll see themselves through. It's their first win at a World Cup for 12 years. Since 2006, obviously, where they went on their run. Outside where they made it to the last 16, they've not won a group game since then. They've lost or drawn all their games. So first win at a World Cup for 12 years. I think hence why the celebrations at full time were as full on as they were. Also, obviously, because it puts them in a really good position to qualify. It leaves them needing less than a win to get it done, which obviously takes off the pressure a little bit. But Tazza, we saw this one, we watched this one live, and just at a bar, and the place was absolutely bouncing.
Yeah, it was. It seemed like there were a few nerves probably at the start, and everyone was a bit apprehensive. But as soon as that goal went in, the place lit up. So that was good. I mean, that's back-to-back games that we've scored in, which is a huge deal. I mean, given our record in World Cups past, it hasn't been great. So yeah, it's good to see some consistency, and yeah, Harry Sutar, absolutely, just an absolute behemoth down back. I'm not sure Australia walk away with the win if it wasn't for that goal-saving tackle.
Yeah,
that was just hugely impressive performance for him.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. He's a man mountain at the back there for him. So yeah, he played a massive part in that win. But yeah, look, what are the chances that we see Australia do make it through here? Denmark are a tough outfit. They did draw against Tunisia themselves, but that was a pretty cagey affair. But it's going to be tough to keep Denmark quiet. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, you can expect that Denmark aren't going to sit back. They're going to throw everything at it because they have to. And then conversely, what do Australia do? Do they sit back? I hope they don't, because I think you're inviting too much pressure.
Yeah.
Denmark are, like I said, they're a strong team. You invite too much pressure, you're bound to get bit. And I think we just need to play our way. yeah, we just play a balanced game of football. We don't need to do anything different. I mean, yeah, we got battered by France, but France is France.
Yeah.
It's a completely different kettle of fish. So yeah, I look. We need a draw. I give us a chance. I
Mm,
think the likelihood is that Denmark win. I mean, but why not? Why couldn't it happen? We've seen stranger things happen this tournament, so
yeah,
there's every
that's for
chance that
sure.
Australia could. All it is a draw. They don't need a win.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I know there's plenty of Aussies that follow the channel, so keep ties on that one. And next week when we cover the third and final round for the rest of these games, we'll see how they ended up going. Group E: Spain, Japan, Costa Rica, Germany. Obviously with Spain absolutely crushing Costa Rica, and Germany's probably pretty surprising loss to Japan. It was looking doom and gloom for Germany, especially because they had Spain coming up in the next round. Anything bar a draw here probably would have seen them out of the tournament. And they went behind, but they came back. They got the draw. But Costa Rica's surprise shock win over Japan, which I don't think anyone saw coming, has really kept Germany in the tournament still here, because a Japanese win would have made Germany's draw basically, null void here.
Yeah, I mean, Germany would have loved to win here to probably shore things up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's all still to play for. You'd have to think Germany get the win against Costa Rica. They've got the easier game to
Mm.
finish the group, which they'll appreciate. But
And they only
I
need
mean, this
Japan to
one,
lose.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So Japan, Spain have been. I mean, they battered Costa Rica as we talked about, so
Mm.
they've looked good. They've looked very good when they're on. So you'd think this one seems straightforward. Spain beat Japan, Germany beat Costa Rica, but yeah, I mean, my money's there. But this isn't Germany that we've come to expect. I think even this fixture did show it in spades. Spain were the better team for me, and I think yeah, Germany probably did well to scrape a draw here.
Mm. Mm. I think, yeah, I tend to agree. Obviously, I think the most surprising thing that came out of this group is the fact that Costa Rica got it done over Japan. 14 shots
Mm.
to or three, yeah, 14 shots to four um, to Japan, and they just couldn't put it away. Costa Rica had one shot on target, and that was enough to get them the 3 points. So it obviously puts them in a really good spot. Still, obviously, extremely difficult for them to qualify, because they've got Germany next, but we've seen the how shaky it's been for Germany, not just in this World Cup, even in like the Nations League and qualifying and international friendlies and stuff like that. They just they seem a definite shadow of their former self, from especially from what was it, 2014, when they won. They haven't been. I wouldn't say they've been the same since then. So yeah, it's. I would expect Germany to see it out, but there's, like you said before, we've seen stranger things happen in this World Cup, and especially with Germany at the moment, you can't put any sort of certainty on them, I don't think.
Yeah, Germany's golden era of probably yeah 2014, 2018 even is gone. I mean, the likes of Schweinsteiger, Philipp Lahm, Mats Hummels aren't
Mm,
there anymore. They were the figureheads of that team. So it's they're still a decent they're a top team, but they're not the dominant Germany that we once that we knew. And the poor bloke that put poor bloke, stupid bloke, I don't know, call him what you want, but the bloke that put 180K on Japan to beat Costa Rica.
Ugh. Probably the same bloke that
More
put
money.
$100,000 on Argentina to beat Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, more money than brains there, I think. So, I mean, it sounds an easy win, but this World Cup has already thrown so many curveballs. So I don't know why you'd even. It's fraught with danger, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that sucks. 180K down the drain. Catch you later.
Let's move on to Group F. Croatia, Morocco, Belgium, Canada. Canada, the only side here that don't have a chance. They're out 0 from 2 after their loss against Croatia. And Morocco, the surprise package of this one, with a win over Belgium. And on Belgium, we have to talk about Kevin De Bruyne here. I'm sure you've seen his comments, and I'm sure anyone else watching has seen his comments on the national team. It seems strange, those comments coming from a player like De Bruyne. And obviously, if you're a player in that side, and obviously a fan, hearing those sort of things coming from who he's probably, he is their best player in the side. Hearing that your best player in the team thinks you have zero chance of winning the World Cup is pretty disheartening. And it seemed like there was a shadow weighing over the heads of these the Belgian players going into this game, because they were pretty flat, just as much as they were against Canada, really.
Yeah, I mean, got to be positive. I mean, yeah, they're a top. I think they're ranked third in the world. Belgium. The rankings can sometimes be a little bit clouded, a bit, they may not read completely true, but they're a top team, and you've got to at least believe that something's got you there to that ranking. And I don't know, it's a horrible, it's just a silly thing to say. Positivity goes a hell of a long way, just providing the team motivation. And I don't know, that was an odd one to say. It does absolutely nothing good for the team, for the morale, for everything else. So I don't get that. And there seems to be some pretty big rumors of tension within the Belgium team. There's a few players that just do not get along with each other. I had no idea, but I think going back a couple of years ago, there was a bit of a scandal between two of the blokes, one involving De Bruyne and another one. I'm not sure if you know much about it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get too much into it, but
yeah,
yeah,
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah, and so that there's got to be some underlying tension there. It just seems like a horrible, horrible time, and just a place to be for a lot of those players. It just seems very tense.
And they've got Croatia up next, who absolutely trounced Canada, who Belgium were lucky to win against, in fairness, and Morocco, who've got Canada next, who are obviously they're out. You would think Morocco are a good value to pick up 3 points there, and solidify their qualifications. So yeah, it's likely that Belgium, this could be their last game of the World Cup.
Yeah, I think so. They got to get together real quick. The talent's there, but just shows how much chemistry and cohesion plays a factor, especially on the world stage like this when you're playing with the world's best players. But Morocco, Hakim Ziyech, well, he was on fire. Huge game for him, and just when Morocco needed it, they pulled one out of nothing, and out of nothing, they were good value. They deserved to win that, and I think there was a disallowed goal in there as well for Ziyech off the free kick. So I mean, huge there for Morocco.
Group G, Brazil obviously have qualified there after their solitary 1-0 win, Vinny, over Switzerland, and Cameroon and Serbia. This might be game of the year so far. Serbia threw away a 3-1 lead in the second half for Cameroon to come back. 2 goals that were I believe Cameroon's second goal was ruled offside to be later changed by VAR, and their third wasn't originally flagged, but it looked pretty tight. Serbia for me have been probably the most disappointing side throughout the tournament. for me. I mean, they have a they have a good, they've got a good group of players in there. Milinkovic Savic, who's probably one of the best midfielders in the Serie A at the moment. Filip Kostic, who's been, who I believe he was with Frankfurt and did a job there, and he's now at Juve. They do have a 4 or 5 high quality players, but they've just obviously Mitrovic up front as well, doing the business in the Premier League with Fulham. So, but they can't get it done on the world stage, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, from 3-1 up after, especially they were behind. They went 1-0 down. They were trying to play a high line offside trap, which resulted in them conceding the 2 goals, which ended up losing them the points. And I mean, as much as it is still it's still there to play for the other 3 sides. Maybe you have to deal with Switzerland, who at least were somewhat convincing against Cameroon. Cameroon have looked actually really good as well, to be fair. Choupo-Moting up front's been good. And Vincent, is it Abubakar or Abubakar?
It's Abubakar, I think.
Abubakar, yeah.
For some reason, I think the commentator pronounced it Abubakar.
Abubakar,
that one really threw me off.
I think he became the first player to register a goal and an assist from in a World Cup coming off the bench.
First African, I think.
First African, yeah, that's right. So, and I think he's actually Cameroon's captain ahead of Choupo-Moting, but for some reason over the 2 games he started both games on the bench. I think if there's ever been a shout to start both of them up front, it would be this game against Brazil, where it all matters for him, because they're both lethal, and they clearly had the chemistry against Serbia, because the 3rd goal came between those 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was within 10 minutes. I think he had those. I think he'd come on at halftime halftime maybe, or just after halftime, and then I think by the 60th minute, they were it was 3-3. So huge. Back on Serbia, I think I don't know what it is, but there is some top line talent there. Milinkovic Savic is just an absolute gun. He's been tearing up for Lazio for years, and I'm surprised he hasn't moved on probably from there to test himself elsewhere. But Cameroon have been just as good as well. Abubakar just absolutely turning it on. And I mean, probably for me, probably game of the tournament, given Serbia looked like they had crushed this one 3-1. It just looked all dead and gone, and all it took was the brilliance of a substitute to get it to split the points.
Just quickly on Brazil before we move on to the last group. First game, first team to win 17 or to go 17 games unbeaten in World Cup group stages. If they win their last one, or at least draw, if they don't lose it against Cameroon, that'll mean the last 6 World Cups, they would have gone undefeated in all their group stage games, spanning back 6 World Cups. It's no surprise, to be perfectly honest, but that is some stat.
Yeah, far out. So going back 24 years. I mean, I know, you don't play a World Cup every year, but still, that's a huge stat. I mean, you'd think there'd be one slip up there somewhere. Yep. I mean, we've seen not just this World Cup, but international tournaments alike. There's always upsets, and to not succumb to one for 6 World Cups is huge. So, I mean, Brazil, for me, I mean, I liked Argentina at the start of the tournament, but for me, I think Brazil they look every part a champion at this point, and Casemiro with the Thunderbolt, but a very well timed shot to seal the 3 points there.
Let's end on Group H here. We'll wrap it up. Portugal, obviously the 3rd side that I spoke about, that confirmed their qualification after they won 2-0 over Uruguay, who have been a little bit poor for me. But also Ghana 3-2 over South Korea. This was another really good sort of end-to-end game here. I think South Korea came from 2 down, I think it was only about 5 minutes after they equalised that that Kudos scored the winner for Ghana. But another really good game here. But I suppose the talking point out of this fixture was the penalty call on Jimenez for Uruguay. This is all wrong for me. I mean, as someone who's played in defence before, when you make in a sliding challenge or a sliding attempt at a block, or which I think you might have been trying to do here, there is no other position for your arm but to be on the floor, basically. You have no control over that. So the fact that that was given because the ball hit that arm is just wrong for me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that decision. As a defender, I mean, the only way he doesn't make contact with the hand, with the ball, with his hand or his arm, is if he goes down for that tackle with his hands by his side. And if he does that, he's falling flat on his ass,
Yeah.
and he's got absolutely nothing to brace for him.
Mm.
No defender in the world is doing that. No defender in the world is just going to basically, he's just going to flop onto the ground and hope the ball hits him. That's all he's got. If applying that logic, that's all he's got. So, no, I'm not a fan of that decision. Jimenez, well, he was perplexed. But I felt so sorry for him because he's sitting there thinking, "What do you want me to do?
What more can I do?" Yeah,
it's textbook how you're supposed to do it. Yeah, it hit his hand, but I think this needed common sense.
Yeah,
and there was none. So it was pretty disappointing. I support. I like Uruguay for a couple of reasons, but yeah, it was tough to say. I think it's not how you want. Not that it lost them the game, but you don't want to lose games like that.
Yeah, he came in the stoppage time, and I mean, like you said, it might not have made much difference in the end of the day, but it was the nail in the coffin. You know, if that's not given, there's still I don't know how many minutes of extra time there was, but you know, there's still, you know, let's just say for another 5 minutes of time for them to, you know, potentially make something out of the late game. But you know, as soon as that penalty goes in, that's done and dusted. So. And it obviously stuff like that hurts the goal difference as well. So they're currently sitting at a -2 for the goal difference. So I mean, look, it's once again. I mean, I feel like a broken record saying this, but it's just the case with a lot of these groups so far. It's still all to play for. You know, Uruguay have Ghana in the last round, and obviously South Korea face Portugal. So that is, you know, the toughest of the two there for South Korea, and obviously Ghana, who are sitting in that second spot at the moment. If they want to make that theirs, then they'll have to beat Uruguay, and it would be a shock exit. I would think, should Uruguay not qualify for the round of 16, because I think looking at the group at the start of the at the tournament, you would probably pick Portugal and Uruguay to go through here. But yeah, they have been, you know, somewhat disappointing this tournament thus far. But you know, given the caliber of players that they've got, at least anyway, you know, they've got like 3 or 4, you know, unreal attackers. You know, they've got a midfield of Bentancur and Valverde, who, you know, Valverde is, you know, up there for one of the best midfielders in the world at the moment. But you know, again, things just don't really seem to be clicking all that much.
Yeah, well, no goals scored so far this World Cup. You give me an attack of, yes, they're aging, but Cavani, Luis Suarez, and Darwin Núñez, you're thinking they're putting at least 1 or 2 behind in their first couple of games. So no goals is a huge shock for me. That's really where their strength lies for me. And given the midfield of Bentancur and Valverde, you're expecting something to come out of that. Bentancur almost scored against Portugal. He mazy run is straight through the middle, and he just some quick feet. Almost had pretty much beat 3 defenders within 2 or 3 seconds. And yeah, it was thwarted at the last stage, but yeah, Uruguay need to find something here. But Portugal, on the other hand, they're coasting. They're well, not coasting, but they're looking good. Bruno Fernandes, as much as it pains me to say, is looking pretty good. Uh, he'd have to be up there for me for player of the tournament, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, I definitely think he's got a a claim to that at the moment. Off the top of my head, I'm just trying to think of maybe sort of who else could potentially be up there. Yeah,
You're probably looking maybe from a up and coming perspective. You're looking at guys like Gakpo,
yeah, true.
possibly.
Yeah.
But Fernandes 2 goals and 2 assists, if I'm
Mm.
correct, I think so far in 2 games.
Yeah.
So purely from a stats basis, you've got to appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Even though there might have been a little bit of confusion over his first against Uruguay, whether it came off of Ronaldo or not, it was officially given as Bruno Fernandes's goal. And I even saw some like sound wave footage that proved that it didn't touch Ronaldo at all. So it seems to be the right decision to go down as Fernandes's goal. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It probably only matters to Ronaldo. Because he obviously he loves the goal, but at the end of the day, it makes no difference who puts it in the back of the net. It's a goal at the end of the day. So yeah, but Bruno Fernandes is looking really good. And, he pulls the strings in that side offensively. Obviously, Ronaldo is there to finish the job, but Bruno's there to create them, and 2 goals and 2 assists. He's done exactly that.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see. I'm not sure how much truth there was, but I did see there was something out of the Portuguese FA saying that they were going to, before the technology had confirmed that Ronaldo didn't get ahead to the ball, they were going to apply for the goal to be changed to given to Ronaldo, and I might be being absolutely fooled here, but I've seen it in multiple areas and on multiple platforms, and that, geez, it's got a smack of if you're Bruno Fernandes, you got to be disappointed if you're hearing that. I mean, yeah, Ronaldo's he's led that that squad for years upon years and multiple tournaments, but there's just no need for that. I mean, it's not a meaningless goal either, but I just think that's a step too far to appease someone who really just, I don't know, doesn't need his ego inflated anymore.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying about. He would be the only person in the camp that would care whether that goes down as his goal or not, because that's just the type of player that he is. So, yeah. But look, it is what it is. They've qualified. That's all he probably cares about too. To be honest, he's happy that they qualify. He hasn't even been playing 90 minutes for these games. I'm pretty sure he's come off both times. Doesn't seem to be too big of an issue there for him. Because he's starting in these games and he is making an impact. So that's, if that's good enough for him, then that's good enough for him. Keep Ronaldo happy, keep the squad happy. That's pretty much how it is.
Given the depth of this team and the age of Ronaldo, I think that's the best move. He shouldn't be playing 90 because they got plenty of other, plenty more talent to show.
Well, that's it, mate. We've gone through it all. We'll wrap it up there. Obviously, the next time we speak will be the end of the group stages, and we'll know who's qualified and who will be playing who. So we'll definitely touch on those. But yeah, it's been a very fruitful round. We'll look forward to the third and final round of the group stage where it all matters. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you are new and enjoy the videos, leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't, and turn on the notifications so you're always aware when we're uploading new videos. But that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.